Hey everybody, it's Justin here with another video update. So I went on Twitter today and I was just itching to get on here and do another YouTube video. So I asked people if there's anything they wanted me to discuss. A few people threw out some tickers, but it wasn't enough to make an entire video out of, unfortunately. So that's on you guys. But I am going to address a few of the tickers that were brought up, but I'm also going to share some stuff that I've been watching and just I'll share a few individual setups, and we'll also take a look at some sector ETFs. So the first thing I want to look at, instead of diving into the S&P 500 and the Qs like most people, I want to start things off by looking at the tech sector ETF. So this is XLK. The reason I want to look at this is because tech, as everyone is aware, has been really leading this rally. We've had really strong performances out of mega cap tech stocks like Nvidia, which has really dragged the market higher and been a real place of alpha lately. And when I look at tech stocks, when I look at XLK, you can see here that we had this big rally, and then we came up and we tested this level here. So this is a weekly chart. You could see we basically came up, tried to break out, attempted to close at new all-time highs, but we were rejected on that first attempt. And then what's happened is last week we pulled back, and this week we started the week green, so we're up about 1.2% on the week so far. And what I'm thinking might happen, actually, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how this shakes out. But I wouldn't be surprised just by the strength we've seen on, the dip buyers have been in full force lately. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the pullback. Like, we'll have to wait and see. But that's a scenario that I'm fully prepared for. I still own a lot of tech stocks. I have a lot of exposure, not necessarily to the mega caps, but different tech stocks, semi stocks, software stocks. So I'm exposed to this trend, and just based on what we've seen the past couple days, really, particularly today, we just saw a very strong bid and appetite for these tech stocks, even in some of these high flying tech stocks that I thought would need to pull back more, take a breather. So we'll have to see how it shakes out the rest of the week. I know it's only Tuesday, but so far I've been really impressed by the bid we're seeing. So possible scenario that I'm outlining or thinking could happen is maybe we just paint a bull flag and consolidate underneath this resistance here and kind of take out, maybe we take a few cracks at that resistance level, take out a few sellers, and then ultimately break out. And now I'm just going to share a few tech stocks that I'm watching right now. There's kind of a general theme to these. These are all semiconductor stocks, not necessarily your Nvidias of the world, but there's some semiconductor stocks that I've been paying close attention to that have been really strong and sort of flying under the radar. So this morning I actually bought some Onto Innovation, and it had a very nice move today. It ended the day up about 4.1%, and I just really like how it's consolidating here. If you look at it on the weekly, you can see it had this huge base. We basically did this breakout retest already, and now we're just consolidating and storing up energy and sort of painting a bull flag here above this resistance support area that we flipped. So let me say that a little bit more clearly. So this was prior resistance, so we flipped it into support, or at least that's how it's looking so far. And so Onto Innovation is looking really good because there's a lot of blue skies ahead for this one. So that's one that I own personally and think is shaping up really well. This is Claw Corporation, ticker is CLAC, KLAC. Really like how this one's shaping up. Very similar setup to what we saw with Onto. We had this breakout. We had this big base. We broke out, and then we came back down. Retested it. Buyers stepped in, and now we're just sort of painting this bull flag right here. And this thing looks like it's setting up and wants to rip higher. This is a name I shared in my Trade of the Week newsletter a few weeks ago. So I really like how this one's shaping up. Lamb Research is looking really good. This is ticker LRCX. So this one's looking really nice. It hasn't quite broken out to all-time highs like we saw in CLAC and Onto, but still looking really good. You can see this really clean base here. And we've broken through this resistance level that I marked previously. And then, look, we're just flipping it. So maybe this needs a little bit more time for the moving averages to catch up. But this had a really nice day today. I think this was up. Yeah, this was up about 4.7%. Now you can see here on the daily that's just starting to paint out this bull flag here. So I really like how this one's setting up. And then another one that I got is latest Semiconductor Corporation. This one's a little smaller. This one might need a little bit more time, but I think I got a pretty good entry on it. So if it looks like it's going to pull back and needs a little bit more time to potentially build out this handle here, and I might readjust. But for now, I'm hanging on to it. I like the strength we've seen the last few days, and you just have this initial base here, and then I was starting to build out this handle here. And one of the reasons I like this name is because this was one of the first semiconductors to break out to all-time highs, and you could see it had like a little bit of a deeper drawdown than what we saw on Onto and Clack, but it was ahead of schedule in the sense that it broke. I believe it broke out before those stocks. So I like how this one's setting up long term. It's basically building out a handle or base right near all time highs. So I think once this one gets going, it could really get going. And this is smaller than some of the ones we've looked at so far. Microchip Technology Corporation. You don't see a lot of people talking about this one. I think this is about a $50-60 billion market cap on this one. Don't quote me on that, but I think I'm in the general area. But I just like how this one's shaping up on the weekly. You can see we had this big base here. We pulled back, and now we're starting to build out. But then you could argue this is a handle or another base here. When now we're just starting to bump up against all-time highs again. So I really like how this one's setting up. Not talked about too much, but I mean, once this breaks out, there's just a ton of blue skies ahead of it, and it's really been trading and building out this base. You could argue this base building formation, this consolidation pattern, or we've been in this range, goes back to 2021. So this is definitely a name that I'm watching very closely. It had a nice day today. It was up 4.7%. So outside of tech, an area of the market that I'm watching really closely right now, this would be industrials. So this is XLI. This is a chart that I've shared on Twitter before. I've also covered it in YouTube videos extensively before. The reason I like this one is, so this was one of the sectors that bottomed before the broad market did. So you can see it bottomed in late September. I think the broad market's bottomed in October. So it was a little ahead of schedule in that sense, and had basically this V bottom recovery off that level, flipped this downtrend, and turned it, this downtrend into support. You could see we just traded sideways for several months here. And then once we flipped and reclaimed that 10-week and 30-week moving average, we started to break out. And I just really like how this is shaping up. It attempted, similar to what we saw in XLK, it attempted to break out to all-time highs, got rejected, pulled back. But the bid on this has been very strong the past few days. I just really like how this is shaping up. So I think one of the most important questions investors and traders should be asking themselves right now is, so lately, there's been all this talk about how tech's leading the market. We all know about the strong performances for mega cap tech stocks, but industrials actually have a chance to break out to new all-time highs ahead of tech. So that'll be something that I'm watching closely, because that'll really kill the narrative that it's just tech stocks and mega cap tech stocks. Because you can see here, this XLI is only 2% off its all-time highs right now. So that's definitely a little race competition that I'm watching, which one gets and closes at new all-time highs first. Will it be XLI, industrials, or will it be tech and XLK? So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. And within industrials, here's a few names that I like. So this is Arcosa. This is a name I shared in my free e-letter over at Risk Hedge. You can check that out if you'd like. See if I can include a link in the description. But I like what I was seeing here because it had this huge base, broke out, came back, retested it, and I recommended this a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly, but I like how this one's shaping up a lot. When we look at it on the daily, you can see it's just, since breaking out, it's just been putting in some stair-stepping action and signs of an uptrend here. So I just really like how this one's shaping up. Super strong name, basically trading at all-time highs right now. So I like that one. Here's another here's another industrials name that I like. I actually recommended this in my trading room a few weeks ago, and similar arrangement or setup to what we saw in Arcosa. You can see it, broke out to all-time highs. On the initial breakout, it came back down and retested that level, and it's just been grinding higher ever since. So on a longer term time frame, this thing looks really good. It's trading on all time highs right now. What's not to like? Another name that I like is Expel, ticker XPEL. You can see here, so this one's not quite trading at all-time highs yet, but I really like how it's shaping up. It broke this downtrend that it had been in since July of 2021, and it's starting to emerge out of this, rounded bottom base here. We haven't quite taken out these August 22 highs just yet, but I think once that happens, this thing could really get moving, because once it takes out that level, there's not much standing in its way between where it's trading at right now and all-time highs. So definitely a name to keep a close eye on. And then someone on my timeline mentioned this name. This is a name I've covered in previous videos before, I think, and definitely have shared on my Twitter. And I just really like how this industrial's name is just in a very, really beautiful uptrend. So I'm going to take away the moving averages for a second, but you can see, since bottoming back in September 2021, I had this big move here, pulled back out of this, formed this little wedge pattern, had an explosive move out of there, then had another consolidation pattern, broke out of that explosively, and then had a little base here, and then just has rocketed since breaking out of that. So this is definitely a strong name to keep an eye on if your thing, like me, is trying to get involved with the winners and the market leaders and industry leaders. This would definitely be one of those. So this is GWW. And then I'm going to wrap things up by taking a few requests. So these were some tickers, some ideas that came through on my Twitter page, some names that people wanted me to look at. So the first is gold. I don't have a ton to say about this on a daily or weekly level. It's pretty messy and not an area that I would be interested in, get involved on the long side yet as a trader. But when we zoom out and we look at it, we can see it as this massive, massive cup and handle pattern that's been forming. But the problem with this is that it's been so messy lately and choppy lately. I mean, we're technically pulling back into an area of potential support here, so maybe it bounces here. But I just think there are much stronger, easier ways to make money in the market right now. So GLD and gold stocks are not an area of the market that I'm interested in yet. I'll be watching it closely, but I just think there's much easier ways to make money right now. Tech's doing really good. Industrials are waking up, and some of them are doing very, very well lately. And then I'm honestly more interested in looking at some potential energy names and healthcare names than I am at looking at gold right now. So that's kind of all I got to say about that. And then Bitcoin's a little bit of a different story. So this is another request here. I got a bunch of lines. Sorry if it's messy, but you could see that we've been in an uptrend since November of last year. And then after this, multi-week, actually really like a couple month drawdown, we're starting to wake up again. And it looks like Bitcoin's going to flip this 30K level and hold it. So we're already at 30,600 right now, and that seems to be holding. If that does hold, maybe we come back and have a little shakeout before heading higher again. But assuming we close the week above 30K or above this level here, which is about 30,200. I mean, 30K is a nice psychological number, so let's just use that. Then I think the next area that you're going to want to look at on Bitcoin would be up to this $36,000 level. So that's about 18% higher. And then the next level I'd be watching is call it, this is 39,800. Call it 40,000. So next two levels that I'm personally watching would be 36,000 and 40K. So yeah, that's it on Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks pretty good. It's been lifting the miners. Crypto stocks have really woken up. And so overall, Bitcoin is looking so much better than gold right now. It's not even competition. Last name I want to cover, and I only got a few more seconds, so I'm going to go through this really quickly. But this is ENVX, and I just really like here how it's broken this downtrend. Volume starting to pour in, and this has a high short interest. So I'm about to hit my 15-minute mark, so that's all I got to say. But I've shared this chart on my Twitter before, so check it out.